no. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Ooh, the gym. My old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah, try it sometime.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, happy Monday, Bronco Nation. Welcome on into another live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com, the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and as always on Mondays and Wednesdays when we're utilizing our partnership with KTIK. That means we're streaming on the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, I believe, of KTIK 95.3, The Ticket as well. Make sure you give them a follow on their social media channels and get their daily video content. And that sexy-looking guy you see right there is Mike Prater. It's Monday. We always enjoy starting the week off with you, Mike. Appreciate you as always for jumping on. I hope you had a good weekend.
There is nothing sexy about Mike Prater 24/7, 365, especially on a Monday morning. But you know what? When it's Monday morning of Super Bowl week, I'll try to sexy it up just a little bit for us, BJ.
This is a Blue and Orange Store Monday edition. We appreciate the Blue and Orange Store. And Prater, I know you're jealous. I got the new Capital 11 hat here in the blue and orange colors. May have to try to get one for you here. But we appreciate Travis Hawks and David Gardner. They actually brought it to me at the game on Saturday. And I know you have one. We got one when we went to the do a broadcast out there at their nice Capital 11 building. I have a huge melon, and they didn't have a hat that quite fit me perfectly, and so they went and made some custom ones in blue and orange. And so I don't sport Boise State gear, but I'll make an exception at least on the colors here for Travis Hawks and company, and appreciate Travis and David and the Blue and Orange Store for their partnership. And so check out the blueandorange.store.com if you're looking for any Boise State gear. And there are Monday sponsors here, so we appreciate them and making you jealous here with the hat, Mike Prater.
Yeah, that's a good looking lid. I do have one of those lids, and I like to wear it every now and then because it's kind of the nondescript logo. Everybody goes, "Who is that? What is that?" And I tell them Capital 11, and it's our boy Travis Hawks, and it's not the Boise State colors, but that's a good looking lid. Next time, send me the memo. I'll wear mine, and we'll be matching twins. That'll be kind of funny.
There you go. I don't know if yours even has this, but I got Capital 11 stitched on the back there. So
what?
Yeah, so I can, if I go backwards, and I can really show people.
There you go.
Yeah, very, very appreciative, and it was good to see them at the game. It was a fun time on Saturday at Extra Mile Arena. We'll get to that game, but I saw a lot of our sponsors, a lot of supporters, shook a lot of hands. It was just a Saturday afternoon, a sellout crowd. It was just a good time. A lot of friends getting together, and I really enjoyed the conversation and seeing Travis and Stan Nicolason, our sponsor from Taco Bell, and his brother Steven. They both are with SON Management, and just a lot of people. The Ridleys just had a lot of fun on Saturday at the game, and we'll get to that, but it's Monday morning. It's Super Bowl week. Both teams have arrived. I am going to Circa on Sunday to watch the Super Bowl, Mike Prater. I just couldn't not do it. So I even have this like weird plan where because the game's Saturday night's in Logan, and then I'm going to fly out of Salt Lake on Sunday morning. And I couldn't not be in Vegas and not be at Circa Resort and Casino. What's the over-under? I'm landing 3 hours before the Super Bowl. What's an over-under on an Uber to get to Circa?
Ooh, in terms of the price or the time?
Yes.
Both of them are
probably both.
Yeah, both of them are going to be a little pesky. So hopefully you might have to take an old-fashioned taxi cab. Do those things even exist anymore?
The Circa limo is the Circa limo is dealing with a few more important people on Super Bowl Sunday than me, so I couldn't request that. But I don't know what I'm worried about more: the one before the game or the one after the game, trying to get back to the airport. Hopefully I'll win a few of those prop bets and be able to. I'm putting the over under at $100. Is that too high? Or is that possible for an Uber from the airport over to Circa?
I think usually from I think last time we did it was less than $20, so it's 25 bucks max. I think you're probably looking at about a C spot. Definitely put a $100 bill both ways. That's both ways, $200 total, my friend.
All right. Well, your paycheck just came down for the month of February, but and the airport's right by the stadium too, and the Super Bowl's right there. I mean, it's just going to be absolute chaos. But I am looking forward to it. I just love Vegas, Prater. I just love going to Vegas. I love going to Circa Resort and Casino. Last year we had the crazy idea. The Southwest flights lined up. Let's fly down in the morning. Let's watch it there and fly back. And they have kind of an all-you-can-eat and drink watch party out by the pool. And so I said, let's just do it and pay it and go. And we had so much fun. And it was awesome. And then we were thinking about it. And it was going to be tough with the Utah State game. And once the Chiefs got back in it, and it was a good matchup, it was like, let's just go for it. So going to drive down to the game Saturday, then drive to Salt Lake, fly out Sunday morning, be there for about 8 hours, watch the game, then fly back Sunday night. And hopefully, if all goes well, be back with you Monday morning at 9 a.m. Not hungover and feeling great and ready to go on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. But we bring it up because it is Super Bowl week, and 5 weeks from tomorrow, you and I and Johnny will be flying to Las Vegas 5 weeks from tomorrow night to kick off our coverage of the Mountain West tournament. Crazy to believe we're 5 weeks away, and you guys and Bronco Nation News will be doing shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of Mountain West tournament week at Circa Resort and Casino. We'll have the pool party on Friday. Hopefully everybody comes, and we'll tell you more about that as we go on here, but you can RSVP to Reigns at BroncoNationNews.com. But we love Circa. We love Vegas. We're looking forward to being there in 5 weeks. But this week, Mike Prater, it is the epicenter, as I said, of the sports landscape, I guess you could say. The biggest week, the Super Bowl is there. And yes, the Super Bowl is there, but unfortunately, yet another year, Mike Prater, where no Boise State player will be there.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it. If you can get a Boise State player into the Super Bowl, that gives us just a little extra buzz here. It's still the Super Bowl. It's still great. The circuit thing is fantastic. I cannot wait. 5 weeks. I cannot wait till next week. I want to hear some stories about you down there next week, and thank you to Circa for everything that they do. But it's just not the same when a Boise State player is not in it, and it's the longest drought in Boise State's modern day era, and it really kind of sucks because for a long time, between Quentin Michael in 2005 all the way up to Jay Ajayi in 2018, Boise State was a very, very, very steady force in the Super Bowl, not only getting there and multiple players getting there, but winning championship rings. It's been since 2018 since Boise State had anybody even play in a Super Bowl, let alone win a championship ring. So that's the longest drought in the modern era. They had a player in the 80s, they had a player in the 70s, and then it was Quentin Michael in the 2005 when he got back into it. So it's a little bit different feeling around here. And this is probably a bigger issue. I know you and I are going to spend a couple minutes here debating why. And isn't the talent drain? Is it the roster? And we know that next year or this fall or later on this spring with the NFL draft, Boise State's had a player taken in the NFL draft every year since 2009, I believe it was. And that streak is probably going to end this year. I can't see George Holani getting in the NFL draft. He's going to get a chance. There's no doubt about that. Maybe a couple of other players will get a chance, but I don't see anybody getting drafted. So is it the NFL pipeline? Is it the talent drain on this roster? I don't know. You don't have to have NFL talent to be a great college football roster, but it's certainly helping this time of year and this week specifically. It's kind of a window dressing to have a Boise State guy, and it's a little bit unfortunate that we don't.
Yeah, and do you track this stuff more than anybody in the Valley here in terms of guys on camps and on rosters and things like that? I mean, was the number of Boise State players on active rosters or practice squads down this year compared to previous years?
Yeah, it really was right around 10. Very flexible in terms of, like the David Moes were always kind of up and down as guys like David Moe try to continue to build their career in the NFL. Boise State used to put 20-plus players in camps. And right around 15 to 20 would always stick around. Right now, it's like they're putting 15 to 18 in NFL camps, and maybe right around 10 or 12 are actually making rosters. So that number has definitely gone down. They're still putting a dozen players in the NFL, and there's some quality players in the NFL, and Ashton Jeanty will probably change that and hopefully start a new chapter of Boise State in the NFL when he gets done with his Boise State career after this season. So hopefully better days are ahead. But yeah, right now between the draft, even the combine, Boise State's had somebody at the combine for a long, long time. Don't expect anybody at the combine, nobody at the Super Bowl, nobody in the NFL draft. BJ, it's been a long time since they've had that at Boise State, and hopefully Spencer Danielson can get a couple more of those high-profile recruits, the Ashton Jeanty types, and see if we can get this kind of drought fixed here in Boise.
And I mean, overall, Mike Prater, you go back to 2014, they won that third Fiesta Bowl. Like, I know they've won a couple Mountain West championships. They've had some 10-win seasons, but overall, the past decade at Boise State really hasn't, at least, and there was definitely 3 or 4 years there in the middle where it just hasn't been typical Boise State years on the field. And now you're seeing that correlate with the lack of, wins and championships and overall being in the national picture the last decade at Boise State. I don't think anybody would argue this decade wasn't as good as the previous decade. And sure enough, that's kind of correlating with not as much winning and success at Boise State. And then you're not seeing as much translating over to the NFL side.
Absolutely. And, there was that time later on in Brian Harson's tenure at Boise State where, maybe the draft or maybe the recruiting process wasn't quite as smooth as it was in the past. There was all those complaints about the talent drain at Boise State and Brian Harsin missing on some recruits, which is really weird because, that guy's got a really nice eye, especially for quarterback, not necessarily NFL type quarterbacks, but I always thought Brian Harsin was a really good recruiter, but you can hear the rumblings later in his career that, the talent drain was not working out really well. And then the transition to Andy Avalos, and I don't think he did much in terms of recruiting. I mean, obviously he got Ashton Jeanty here, him and his staff and all that kind of stuff. And there's certainly good players all over the place. They won a championship. Again, you don't have to have NFL talent to be able to go off and win a college football championship, but it certainly helps. And I think if you had the combine, the draft, the Super Bowl, and just, the lack of success, the steady success that Boise State's had over the years, I think you could put it all together that the talent just isn't there like it was 5 and 10 years ago.
Bronco Ray must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. He says, lots of schools don't have players in the Super Bowl, don't see the big deal. I mean, it's not, it's just a cool thing. It's not like somebody, I think it does translate when you have NFL type talent that translates, as I just showed, down to the college level.
I would agree. And I will say, and he's not wrong. He's wrong, but you know what? Boise State is not lots of schools. Boise State's always tried to be a little bit different. Boise State's always tried to be a little bit better. They've always tried to be the group of 5 king in college football. And we certainly know that status isn't a given to Boise State anymore. But yeah, it is somewhat of window dressing, but there is enough evidence to tell me that Boise State's roster just hasn't had the kind of success that it's had over the last 5 to 10 years.
Who do you like in the Super Bowl, Mike?
Oh, like personally, betting wise, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. I like both teams. I like both quarterbacks. I like both coaches. I think it's insane. And this is for you. And I'd be surprised to hear. I want to hear what you have to say. Are we really going to give Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes 2 points in the Super Bowl? They're getting 2 points right now, from what I understand, unless it changed in the last 24 hours. the 49ers are 1.5 to 2-point favorites. And maybe I can see that, but are we really going to give Patrick Mahomes 2 points in the Super Bowl? I'm not going there. I stopped betting a couple years ago because I'm the world's worst bettor. Maybe I need to slip you a $20 bill because I feel pretty good about the Chiefs and 2 points in the Super Bowl. Never underestimate Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl. I think the Baltimore Ravens found that out a couple of weeks ago.
Kind of like on Saturday when the Houston Cougars were favored at Allen Fieldhouse against KU by 1.5, and it was number 4 versus number 8, and it was like the second or third time ever that Bill Self had been an underdog at home, and it's like, really? You're going to make Kansas an underdog at home? And they won by 13, and Kelvin Sampson after the game even said like that was the dumbest thing of all time to make us the favorite on the road at Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas. And so, when I saw that spread, it is kind of like free points. Like I would just take the money line plus 110 probably at that point. But if you're going to make Patrick Mahomes an underdog, like they were just kind of bored with the regular season. They were doing their thing. And once they got to the playoffs, I think they locked it back in. And I expect a great game, going to be a lot of fun. And I know you guys will have coverage all week on KTIK. And you guys have a pretty cool prize you're giving away too.
Yeah, our coverage actually starts today. We're going down memory lane with Boise State guys and throw in some other statewide Idaho guys, Idaho Vandal guys that have played in the Super Bowl. Maybe some people that still live here in the Treasure Valley. So Durham College is coming on at 5 o'clock today to kick off this 4-part series of Idahoans connected to the Super Bowl and players that are still living here in the Treasure Valley, and just literally the 24-hour Super Bowl memory that day, when the time you wake up to the time you went to bed, and how you process the Super Bowl. So we're going to do one of those interviews every day this week, leading all the way up to Friday when Dirk Cutter comes on, and he's our NFL playoff correspondent. But yeah, the Super Bowl party. You're not the only one that's, we got fancy Circa, and we got all kinds of parties and prizes, and I can't wait for our trip to Circa, but we do have our big game party patrol, registering people. We're going to come to your house, me and Johnny and JP and Bob. We're all going to come to people's houses on Sunday. This is our 11th annual Big Game Party Patrol. We take pizza prizes all the way to your house. We're going to bring a whole bunch of other stuff, Steelheads hockey tickets, some swag, some golf stuff, and looking forward to it. All you have to do is register at KTIK.com. It's really simple. We don't need much information at all, and maybe a name and an email, and there's a chance that I could show up at your house. I'm going to bring you some pizza, but I also want to drink your booze. It is Super Bowl Sunday. Let's not forget that.
I was going to say, if you wanted, you get to pick which of the 4 you don't want to show up at your door, but I guess you'll take the food and drinks and call it good, and that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. So yeah, register at KTIK.com and try to win some a nice Super Bowl party and get a chance to hang out with the KTIK gang. That's going to be a lot of fun. And as you said, Mike Prater, we're going to be at Circa Resort and Casino coming up on March 15th. We'll be there all week, but it's crazy to believe 5 weeks from tomorrow, we will be heading down to Las Vegas. Friday, March 15th is the big day, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., the BNN KTIK pool party. We'll be out by the pool. There'll be, I think, the SEC, Big 10, Big 12 quarterfinal games going on all day on the big screens. We'll have food. We'll have drinks. It's going to be a ton of fun. You can watch a live broadcast from 2 to 5 Pacific time of Johnny and Prater and Idaho Sports Talk. I'll be out there as well. We're going to have some swag, some giveaways, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's usually $40 or $50 for a cover charge there at Circa, but if you register and RSVP to me at rains@bronconationnews.com, rains@bronconationnews.com, we will take care of your cover charge. Mike Prater is donating it out of his salary to help pay to get you to Circa and Stadium Swim that day. So email me and get free cover charge. Looking forward to that in 5 weeks. And if you want a 15% off link to stay at Circa or stay at the D during the tournament, we will have that link for you as well. And speaking of giveaways and prizes, Mike, I want to throw in one more plug because we're only about a week away from giving it away. Our grand prize, the VIP basketball experience. We are sending 2 people on a private jet to San Diego for the final game of the season. There could be a lot on the line there in San Diego, and all of our yearly subscribers, Mike Prater, are eligible to win this. You just got to be a yearly subscriber, whether you were on from day one or if you sign up today. When we go to draw the name, you have to be a yearly subscriber. You get a $20 off your first year. You can get a full year for just $50 at BNN 50 deal is the promo code. You go to BroncoNationNews.com. You enter the promo code BNN 50 deal. You get a full year of Mike Prater's columns, my stories, exclusive shows, a daily email, all this good stuff. And you get entered in our cool contest tomorrow. We're giving away, Mike Prater, on the morning, a Michelob Ultra golf bag. We've got a couple other items we're giving away tomorrow, so make sure you sign up, get some gift cards to the James, Taco Bell, some of our sponsors. So make sure you sign up today so you're in tomorrow's drawing. But next week will be the grand prize drawing for the trip to San Diego on the private jet, and we are really looking forward to that. Let's switch to basketball. Mike Prater, let's take a quick 90-second timeout. Thank a few of our sponsors that make this show free of charge for all of you watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We'll take a quick 90-second timeout. And 2 big wins last week. Looking forward to talking to Mike Prater about that and a huge week ahead here for the Boise State men's basketball team. We'll do it in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone. Get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. Back here live on a Monday morning. Again, don't forget 3 to 6 p.m. You can listen to Mike Prater, Johnny, the whole crew there, Idaho Sports Talk, and they're giving away some great stuff for the Super Bowl. They'll have coverage all week. You can register at KTIK.com. But, Prater, 2 huge wins last week. I wrote on BroncoNationNews.com that we may look back, and I know that the Air Force win by itself doesn't stand out as some huge resume-building win, but these last 2 games, winning at the Pit, getting a quad 1 road win, getting that feeling of knowing you can win anywhere and having that momentum, getting Max Rice going, getting that huge win, helping your metrics move up, and then following that up with Saturday, winning by 38 points, getting a huge boost in your computer rankings. They went up 21 spots in the net ranking. They went up 16 spots in the KenPom ranking. They got another quad 1 win, and they got a ton of momentum, and guys are now all kind of clicking. This next week may be bigger when it's all said and done because you have 2 road games against 2 of the better teams in the league, but there's a very strong chance when we look back, as weird as it sounds to me at least, studying these numbers, studying all this stuff all year long, this was a massive week that we just finished up for Boise State. The 2 wins back-to-back, the way they played, what it meant for the computers. They thrust themselves off the bubble, at least temporarily, solidly into the tournament. They're in a very nice spot right now, and both those wins, man, it was just a massive week. I don't think anybody expected them to go to the Pit and win, and then I think everybody thought they'd beat Air Force, but the spread was only like 13, 14. To win by 38, to get everybody clicking, to get Tyson and Max both going in these last 2 games. I thought the last 2 games was just a massive positive development for the Broncos.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And the New Mexico victory speaks for itself. I know we've kind of dissected that sucker. And then how about the second half against Air Force? That's when it really clicked for me. Boise State, I think you said the spread was 13 or 14. And if I remember right, Boise State was up by 14 at halftime, 41-27, maybe, something like that. Yep. So, you're thinking, okay, Air Force is being pesky. Boise State still has a little bit of that hangover from New Mexico. We expected a letdown, and there wasn't a letdown. I mean, I know that first half was a little bit close, but it's not like Boise State was playing hungover.
Banging in some crazy threes and stuff.
Yeah. I know what a hangover looks like, and Boise State wasn't hungover. I think they just kind of came up against that pesky opponent that you expect from Air Force, and then the second half was just beautiful. They exploded and took care of business, and you said 38-point victories. But you know what? It was an important week, and it's a massive week. But you know what? It doesn't matter as long as Boise State, they've got to go on the road now, and I know we're going to spend all week talking about it, but they've got to go on the road now and at least split. Nobody expects them to go off and sweep Colorado State tomorrow night and sweep Utah State later on in the week. that Boise State, if they could just get off this road trip with a split, I don't care how it looks, what it looks like, how big the margins are, they've got to back up this past week with a split, because if they go on the road and lose both these games, and I don't know if they're going to be favored or the underdog in either one of these.
Based on Ken Palm, they're about 4 to 5 point underdogs in both.
Okay, so there you go. You've got to get one of these guys, because if you lose both of them, I think last week is just you wipe it off the board and it becomes a push. And Boise State doesn't need that push factor. So they've got themselves in a really nice position. They're playing great team basketball. I think Leon Rice is doing one of his better jobs in terms of squeezing everything he can out of this bench. And then just depending on the superstar, he's got a beautiful rotation of superstars that are going to show up. And I know we're going to talk about Tyson here in a minute, the ultimate competitor who showed up on Saturday. But I like where this basketball team is right now. I know we're all pretty happy with what we saw last week. You just have to go on the road this week and split.
Yeah, and in the third and final segment here in a little bit, we'll look ahead and talk about but I do want to focus a little bit just on the Air Force game and where this team is playing right now, Mike. And they went on a 50-12 run, by the way, at one point. Air Force was winning 27-25. I thought bringing in Kobe Young, we hadn't seen him in like 4 games, and it was so weird because somebody on the pregame show asked about Kobe Young, and just he hadn't played in a month. I'm like, probably not. Be nice to see him today, but you probably won't. And then he comes in with about 5 minutes left until the half, and he didn't score in that during that 16. He might have had 2 free throws actually, but he didn't score a field goal. But he was playing great defense, forced a shot clock violation, had a couple nice assists, had a couple of huge rebounds. Kobe Young bringing some energy off the bench. He fueled that 16-0 run to end the first half. Jace Whiting was out there for the full time as well. So Jace Whiting, Kobe Young deserve a ton of credit. They helped fuel a 16-0 run to end the first half. And then I thought a brilliant coaching decision for a lot of reasons, which I haven't seen in a long time, but Leon Rice left Kobe Young and Jace Whiting to start the second half. I mean, Kobe Young hadn't played in like 7 games, and he's telling Chibuzo Abo, go ahead and keep your seat on the bench for a few more minutes. These guys deserve to keep playing. And I thought that was just, whether it was sending a message, whether it was rewarding guys for strong play. Leon said after the game, I didn't want to be the cooler. I didn't want to be the guy to slow the run down. Those guys finished it. They deserve to keep it going. You just don't see that very often. You always see them go back to the starting 5 to start the second half. I thought from a messaging standpoint to his players, just for a lot of reasons, and what it did when they extended the lead there on the court, I thought that was a big-time decision by Leon Rice that paid off in a big way, and I thought it was cool to see him continue to give Kobe Young and Jace Whiting those minutes. But, I mean, it wasn't like Roddy Anderson or Chibuzo Abo were bad either. Anderson hit 3 threes in the game. Abo ended with 14 points and played pretty well. They had 5 guys in double figures. Their points per possession, 1.6, I know is kind of a metric-y analytic type thing, but their 1.6 points per possession was the best of any team in the country in any conference game in the last 6 years. So their efficiency on offense, how many times they scored, points that they scored versus how many times they had the ball. No team in a conference game has had a better offensive game and an efficient offensive game in the last 6 years in the country in a conference game. There were some against, nobodies or whatever in November, but Boise State stepped up, and I just put the two together, Mike Prater, what they did at the pit, and then followed that up with maybe their best game of the season. I mean, I don't think they're playing any better, or could be playing any better right now. And Leon Rice talks so long about where they're going to continue to get better, and he thinks the growth, there's still so much room for this team to grow. And I think in these last 2 games, we're finally starting to see, and people joke about super team, whatever else, but just the team that Leon Rice thought he was going to have, we saw that. And again, I know it's Air Force. I know they're one of the worst teams in the league. I get it, but to win by 38 and do some of the things they did, that was a team that went to Colorado State and almost beat them, took it to overtime. They should have beat Colorado State, but at Colorado State 2 weeks ago, but had a turnover with 10 seconds left. They tied the game and then lost in overtime. They went down to UNLV on the road, won by 32, a team that came to Boise and beat Boise State. So I'm not saying they're some amazing team, Mike Prater, but they've played some pretty good games at times this year. And for Boise State to beat them by 38, 5 players in double figures, I just thought overall it was, in my opinion, the best game they've played this season.
I loved what Leon Rice and his staff did with that transition at halftime, and I'm glad you brought that up in terms of the cooler spot, the cooler comment. And he said that a couple of times after the game on Saturday, and I didn't want to be the cooler. That's very cool. But I did, the skeptical side of Mike Prater said, I think this has happened before, but he didn't keep the players going in the second half. So I don't know if he's evolving as a coach, if it was a new trick, if somebody had a suggestion, hey, let's just keep those guys in. Whatever it was, it worked. And I thought it was a really cool message to not only to Kobe and to Jace, and Jace is playing a lot better the last 3 or 4 games and certainly deserving of his minutes, but Kobe Young's scratching and clawing for every single minute he can, and maybe it was a reward metaphorically for the entire bench. Look what you guys can do, because I need you guys. I need 8, 9, 10 players over this last month of the season, and if you continue to do what you're doing and you show up on game day and play like Kobe did, you're going to get rewarded. Starting the second half, are you kidding me? I thought that was a big move, kind of caught us all off guard, and kudos to Leon and his staff for pulling that off, because I thought it was a smart move that can really pay dividends down the road. Mentally, in your mind, there's a carrot in front of your face, and if you can go out there and take care of business Monday through Friday and play well on Saturdays, that's a football reference, by the way, then you're going to get rewarded, and I thought that was a really cool deal.
And, Tyson Degenhart against New Mexico was 1 for 8 from the field, only had like 4 or 5 points, but you're thinking, okay, if this team can still go down to the pit and win when Tyson Degenhart is essentially a non-factor in the game, like that's a good sign, because guys like Max Rice stepped up, and, Tyson Degenhart, you knew, is going to at some point be the Tyson Degenhart you thought that he was going to be. And sure enough, it only took 1 game for that to happen. Career high 29 points. He had 20 points in the first half. I thought he was way more assertive, way more of a factor early in the game. I think he scored on the opening possession of the game for Boise State. They went to him early and often. He was aggressive, was scoring with both hands, was hitting threes, was driving. Nobody was really criticizing him after the 1 for 8, because you won the game, and you also just knew that Tyson overall over the course of the season has put up solid numbers and was going to be fine. But for him to bounce back like that and have that kind of game and career high 29 points, I thought that was another massive development. Getting Max going, because Max had 12 points again, hit 4 threes again against Air Force. That's 11 made threes in the last 2 games. So it looks like his confidence is fully back, and that's a great sign. But if Tyson Degenhart can be this kind of aggressive and have this kind of production, I was super impressed with Tyson. He played against Air Force like the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year that a lot of us thought he should have been.
All right, here comes some Prater hyperbole. Tyson Degenhart is not only one of the greatest competitors in Boise State sports history, I'm talking sports history, he's also one of the greatest teammates in Boise State sports history. I don't think there's anybody better. He might be tied for first with some other people, but what Tyson Degenhart does as a teammate is absolutely spectacular, and it was on display the last couple of weeks. This basketball team has gotten better around him. When this basketball season started, he was the face and the poster and the superstar of this basketball team, and probably the best player, if you wanted to put a tag on that. He's not the best player anymore. There's 3 or 4 guys that can step up, and we've seen it throughout the entire season. And Tyson doesn't do anything, but he puts his head down. He goes to work. He keeps his mouth shut. He's a great teammate, slaps your guys on the butt, gives you guys all kinds of praise when he stinks and the rest of the team is good. And then, you know what? Quietly, he goes off and grinds, and then he shows up like he did in the first half on Saturday and just explodes with a beautiful performance. That guy is such a competitor, and he's such a great teammate in terms of how he responds. Tyson Degenhart will never be the face of this program again in terms of just the single guy, because they put enough talent around him right now. He doesn't have to be, but the way he handles it is so perfect. And when he comes off and does what he does on Saturday, that's a mental thing for me. It's all in his mind. Tyson Degenhart as an athlete is going to always be Tyson Degenhart the athlete, but when he kicks into mind, you knew that he was so determined to come out and play that way on Saturday, and it was a really beautiful thing to watch. I love this dude.
Yeah, it's funny because I know he's had a solid season, but I don't feel like he's had a ton of huge games this year. And I was watching the broadcast. Kudos to Jay Tust and Brian King on the Mountain West Network. I was rewatching the game last night, and Jay said something about leading the team at just over 15 points per game, and I was like, I had to look it up. I'm not to think Jay was wrong with the stat, but I was like, 15 points per game. I would have guessed 12 maybe for Tyson, but when and you got a nice boost there because of the 29. But you look up and Tyson's now at 15.7 points per game, and he's 6 rebounds a game. I mean, he's quietly having a better season than he had last year, which was hard to do. Last year he averaged 14.1 points per game, and now he's up to 15.7. He's maybe getting overshadowed a little bit because of Buzo and what Omar Stanley's doing coming in here his first year. But you say he's not the best player, whatever, I get it. But you look up and he's leading the team in scoring and having another Tyson Degenhart like year. And you're right, man. Just from the from the what he does on the court to his character and what he does off the court. I mean, he is just the perfect Leon Rice type player in terms of what they're trying to get with the character and what he does off the charity work that he does and all the NIL stuff that he has going on. And he just seems like the perfect role model type guy for people's kids and just to have as fans. And he's having a quietly, I think it's fair to say fairly quietly, a heck of a year now, almost 16 points a game. But if he can be that kind of player, and not to say he's going to get 29 every game, but early in the game, be aggressive, continue to find ways to score inside and out. If we can get that type of Tyson Degenhart, they're going to be tough to beat this season.
I think he had 1 or 2 20-point games in the first half of the entire season. He's had 4 in the last 7. Now, other times he's scoring 4 points against New Mexico, 5 points against Fresno State. So it's a little bit of up and down right now. And you can easily just look at the box score and say Tyson's being inconsistent and driving me crazy. But I don't feel that at all. I feel like even when he's scoring 4 points against New Mexico, he's contributing 7 rebounds and a couple of other things, whatever he can do. So his stat lines have been a little bit wonky the last couple of weeks, but he's contributing all over the place. And I really think that he has no problem not stepping back, but when somebody else is hot, whether it's a Max or an Abo or whoever else on this team, Omar certainly has had his moments. Tyson's going to step back and be a supporting role player. He is that kind of a teammate, and I love the way he is as a teammate. So everything you just said about him as a player on and off the court is perfect for this basketball program, and I suspect he's going to have a lot more 20-point performances over this last month of the season. Can't wait to see how it turns out.
By the way, Kobe Young, there's a lot of talk about him in the chat, Mike Prater. They're all saying this started, I don't know if you saw my video or not, Kobe Young, before the New Mexico game, became one of just like 15 people in the last 60 years to be able to successfully roll the ball all the way up the ramp at the pit. And it was a fun moment for him after the game, or after he did it. Everyone was jumping up and down. I thought that might have been the game where he deserved a minute. Maybe it was just Kobe Young's day. It took a few extra days, but not a bad week for Kobe Young.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if those two things are connected, but you know what? We were just talking about Tyson Young's confidence, and Kobe Young, maybe he's got – it's funny what a small dose of confidence is going to do for you. And when Coach points at you in the Air Force game and says, get out there and go, and he has the kind of game that he does, and then, as you pointed out, starting the second half, slowly building that confidence, maybe we'll see a little spike in Kobe Young over these last couple of games.
I want to spin this forward and look at this week in the final few minutes we have, Mike, but I do first want to thank a couple more of our sponsors. Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. They've now got 5 Boise State athletes on NIL deals. Ahmed Hassanin, Matt Lauder, Andrew Simpson, Brooke Patterson from the women's golf team, Paige Barsh from the volleyball team, all driving rigs and vehicles from Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out. View their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com, and you will not be disappointed. We're loving our F-150, and you will too. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. Taco Bell, took my kids there yesterday, loving the new slushie they got there and the food, and just a great time, and bought extra, and they had it for dinner too. So we took care of 2 meals yesterday at Taco Bell. If you're looking for a job, TacoBellWorks.com. They are hiring, and they have a cool program where they'll give you up to half your wages the very next day. So if you need some quick cash, need a job, check them out, TacoBellWorks.com. And again, SON Management, Steven and Stan Nicolason, we appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. Go support them. One of the Treasure Valley freestanding Taco Bell stores. Get Taco Bell for your next meal, and you will not be disappointed. Again, speaking of looking for jobs, transportation compliance service, they can help you get into the trucking industry. Transcomservice.com. You maybe never thought about being a truck driver. Get out there on the open road, but it's a awesome industry, and it's booming right now, and it's a lucrative industry. So all the permits, things you need to get out there towing that first load, let them help you out. Transcomservice.com. Somebody asked Mike Prater what the hat is I'm wearing. It is for Capital 11, which is involved with the Blue and Orange store, the blueandorangestore.com. We appreciate them. They got awesome stuff. I was there at the Pro Image right next to it yesterday or the other day looking at Chiefs stuff. They've got the NFC, AFC championship shirts for the 49ers and Chiefs and hats and all that. But right next door, the Blue and Orange store, an entire store dedicated to Boise State apparel, hats, jerseys, bumper stickers, car flags, you name it. They got it all at the Blue and Orange store. So check them out at the blueandorangestore.com. They've got the NIL shirts, by the way, and my wife ordered a couple and ordered them online and then did in-store pickup, and I went and picked them up. So it's a very easy process. And if you do want to order online, you get free shipping for any order over $40. And Bronco Brew Coffee, looking for some fresh, delicious coffee. My wife did this as well, Mike Prater, and within 24 hours, after she ordered it, the coffee was at our front doorstep. If you're in the area, they will bring it right to you. Freshly ordered, roasted to order coffee from BroncoBrew.coffee. And again, the cool thing with what they're doing is it helps the NIL game at Boise State. Every bag you purchase, couple bucks, you can choose the athlete of your choice and donate money for Boise State NIL. They are a supporter of Boise State Athletics. They're supporting them with every sip, and you're supporting us here at Bronco Nation News if you give BroncoBrew.coffee a try. You will not be disappointed. And again, my wife ordered a bag and is loving it, and you will too. Check them out at BroncoBrew.coffee. Okay, Mike Prater, we mentioned the games coming up this week. I think winning one would be the goal, and as certainly as you said, you're fine. You win one, you're in a good position. If you're going to win one, I think Saturday is actually the bigger game to win, because if you lose to Utah State, then they would have the tiebreaker over you by sweeping you, and you would be essentially 2 games back in the Mountain West title race if that's what you're trying to do. I mean, everybody talks about winning, getting to the big dance and all this kind of stuff, but as Leon Rice is reminded, like they're fighting for a Mountain West title here, and if you win the Mountain West, that certainly puts you into the NCAA tournament. So the first goal that they're worried about is winning the Mountain West, and you'd have a better chance of doing that if you win on Saturday, just because Utah State only has 1 loss. Colorado State already has, I think, 3 or 4, and you would lose the tiebreaker as well. So you would essentially be 2 games behind Utah State with 6 to play, if that's the way or 7 to play, I guess it is, with the way the math works out. So 1 would be the goal. 2, and you're in the driver's seat almost for winning the conference. But I will say this: they're still in an okay spot if they lose both. I know you say it cancels out last week, and it essentially does. It does, but they have a much easier stretch of the schedule coming up here. They would be at 4 conference losses if they lose both these. All along, we kind of said 13-5 was what they needed to do, and they'd be okay to get in, or at least that's what I've said. And I think Johnny said, I don't remember if you had a number or anything, Mike, but 13-5 was kind of the number that I think a lot of people thought would put them in an okay spot, would put them at 9 losses going into the conference tournament. So they maybe 23-10, something like that, with good metrics, good numbers. They have San Jose and Fresno at home after that, which should be 2 wins. They go to Wyoming, which is a little tricky, and they go to Air Force. But both of those, that should be 4 wins right there. And then they come home and they have Nevada and New Mexico, but they're both at home. I think it's very realistic to expect Boise State to be go on a 6-game winning streak after this Utah State game. Final game at Colorado State or at San Diego State certainly won't be easy. And if you can win the next 6, even if you lose these 2, I think you're at 13-4 there, 13-4 at that point going into the last game, kind of playing with house money. I guess my point is it's not the end of the world if they lose both. They would still be in a position to make the NCAA tournament. They would still be in an okay spot. The season would not be over. But with that said, you don't maybe lose a heck of a whole lot if you lose these, but if you're able to win 1 or even both, it totally gives you a leg up and puts you in a huge position. So I don't want to quite say you're playing with house money this week, because 1 would be massive. 2 would just be unheard of, incredible. But there is a lot to gain. I guess there's more to gain this week, I guess, than maybe is to lose, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, Boise State, even if they lose the 2, and I know I said earlier on the show that you have to at least, you can't get swept on the road, but if they lose both, their NCAA resume is still, it's still very much approachable. To me, it all really comes down to positioning yourself for Vegas and making sure you're playing in Vegas on Friday night. If you're playing in Vegas on Friday night and you haven't completely botched the regular season, and I do fully expect, like you said, Boise State to finish at least 5-2, 6-1. I think there's a possibility they can, after that Utah State game, they can sweep and go 7-0, and that would be a pretty spectacular deal for this basketball program. But yeah, it's not a make or break type of deal this week. It's more about the momentum. The crowd support at Extra Mile Arena has been fantastic, and the fan support is, if you're getting 11,000, 12,000 and selling out Air Force when everybody knows that it was kind of a crappy Saturday and it's going to be a 40-point blowout, I thought that was pretty darn cool. So for these last couple of home games, I know Jeremiah Dickey wants to keep the momentum going and keep this crowd support. Certainly the national media and all these metrics that you keep talking about are certainly important. But Boise State, just win the games you're supposed to win, and that means going on the road and splitting, winning a lot of these games coming up, positioning yourself for that Friday night in the tournament, and I think everything will take care of itself. So I think it's more cosmetic than anything else this week. Momentum, confidence, those kind of things that do matter. But I can't wait to see how it plays out. I do expect Boise State to win at least one of these games. Probably the easier game would be Colorado State, but I watched that Colorado State game at home against San Diego State the other day. Such a tough environment. They're going to get beat up environmental-wise this week because Colorado State and Utah State are two of the toughest places to play.
No doubt. And yeah, I'm not trying to like already make the excuse if they lose both. Like, no, it would be they got to find a way to win one, and they'd be in a great position. And two would be, yeah, but I mean, I don't know about you, Mike Prater, but like before, when they lost to Utah State and you're looking at the next stretch going, oh, they got to go to New Mexico, to Colorado State, to Utah State. Like, oh my gosh, you're like, they're lucky to be 1-3 and win the Air Force game. They're already, I think at 2 weeks ago, if you just said, hey, they're going to go 2-2 in this next stretch and pick off one of those 3 road games, I think most people, maybe Leon Rice included, would have taken you up on that and said, we can go 2-2 and not totally tank our season here. I think we'll take that. Now you've got the win at New Mexico, and now I think, Mike, like if they would have lost to New Mexico, I don't know if we're thinking they can go win one of these. Like the psychological, mental, and just seeing the way they're playing, I totally agree. I think that win at New Mexico totally changed the outlook of this week, where now it's going to be super disappointing if you don't at least win one.
That's why the mental aspect is so important of not going on the road and getting swept. If you go on the road and get swept and you wake up on Monday morning, it's like, all right, we're still okay, but you're kind of you're on your back heels. The confidence factor is so huge. The connection with this fan base to this basketball program right now is really, really strong. So you've got to go on the road and take care of the cosmetic stuff, and that includes at least one win this week.
And I do want to throw a quick, just an FYI to folks. We're doing a BNN sponsored trip tomorrow. I'm taking 5 of our great, well, I'm not taking them, but I helped organize it thanks to our doesn't like to be named sponsor that has his own way of getting us down there. So the pregame show, we're hoping to do a postgame show, at least a shorter one. Not sure on pregame, I guess just in advance. Be a little flexible with us because we've got to take care of our sponsors and thank them for sponsoring us and making this show free. And so looking forward to getting some of our great sponsors down to you'll have nice at least 5 Boise State sponsors sitting right behind the bench that are big supporters. And so looking forward to getting down there tomorrow. We're going to take everybody out to dinner before the game. And so I just got to weigh the business side of this, Mike, with everything else. And I wanted to take care of our sponsors. And we set this up a couple months ago, not expecting this to be the game that would mean so much. So we'll be having full coverage of the game. I do expect to have an abbreviated, shorter post-game show, hoping to still get Leon Rice and at least one player on live. Pre-game show is just TBA, so hope folks are a little flexible with us tomorrow as we do that. But super excited to get to Fort Collins tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, excited. And Mike, I know you already talked about it, but big week for KTIK, big week with the Super Bowl and with Boise State. And I know you guys got a big show planned to kick it off today at 3.
Yeah, Darren College today. We'll end the week with Dirk Cutter and BJ Rains on Friday. That's a big show. Super Bowl, Boise State basketball. I think about, I would say that 90% of our coverage this week is going to focus on those two things. It's a pretty cool week, BJ. I'm fired up. I'm excited. Let's get after it this week, huh?
Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate JP for helping get us on as well. 3 o'clock today. Make sure you're listening. JP, Bob, Johnny Prater, the whole gang, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM, the KTIK app, KTIK.com, all the ways that you can check them out. And we're talking to Leon Rice at 12:30 today, so we'll get that up on the BNN YouTube channel. And then Jay Tust and I tomorrow on a game day, we'll have a full preview of Boise State and Colorado State at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So thanks for checking us out. Appreciate you guys. Go subscribe if you can. Enter to win that private jet trip and the golf bag we're giving away tomorrow. Use that promo code BNN50 deal and you get $50 for your first year. Have a great rest of your day. Listen to them at 3 and then join us tomorrow at 9. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.